Hello everybody, this is Diane. Sorry, I'm still adjusting here. Okay, I finished the design team project for Victoria Designs, and you will be able to see that project on July 8th. And the journals, there are 2 journals, they will be in my shop on that day. You don't know if you'll want them because you have no idea what they are. But they are called, the kit is called Cozy Cottage. That's all I can say. And I already told you that the colors are peach and green because I did some of the ephemera on camera. So, what I want to do now is start a quick and easy and fun stash busting project. So I pulled out 5 covers that I want to use to make stash buster journals. I will show you the covers, and then we will make some ephemera to go in them. Basically, I want them to be pretty quick and easy ones, but I also want to use stashes of some of my supplies like index cards and plant cards and even digital images because I have so many of them, scraps and things like that. So without really having a plan as to what we're going to do today, I have some things gathered around me and we'll just see how much we have time for. So I have 5 book covers pulled. This one is Greg Shorthand Manual Simplified Functional Method. So it's a shorthand book. And you can tell how old it is. It's pretty old. This one is House Wiring Simplified. There was something about these technical books that I just really loved the covers. I'm just kind of wiping off the surface dirt with baby wipes. But I just think this cover is so cool looking. Then we have Science Experiments. And this is a younger kids school book called Ready to Roll. Thought I had the date in that one, but I don't. And Writing, a College Handbook. So those are the 5 books that I'm going to turn into stash buster journals. And right now I'm going to set them aside so we can work on some ephemera. I did pull stacks of book pages and other kinds of, like children's book pages, all kinds of book pages, and some of my lined papers and ledgers and scrapbook papers. I have all kinds of papers pulled for the pages, but today I'm just going to focus on some of the ephemera. So I started doing something yesterday because I still have a stack of these flower seed packet labels. I always have a hard time saying what these are, but these are just images of flower seed packets or advertisements. Yeah, because this one's a catalog. So I think these were from Artsology. And as I've said, I've had these for a long time because I printed one page, and then I would go to the next page on my computer and print that one, and then the next page and hit print. And I didn't realize that every time I hit print, I was printing the whole stack. It was like they were all combined. I don't know the differences between JPEGs and PDFs, but I think PDF they're all combined, all several pages, however many pages there are in it. And so I printed, I don't know, like 5 times of each, I don't know, but I ended up with a whole lot of them. So I've been using them, and I love them. They're so beautiful, but I need to use them. So I decided to make some pieces using some of those. So all I did was take some scraps. These are cut-offs of scrapbook paper. I went through my container of the cut-off bits that I have, and I looked for the wider pieces. So as you can see, I needed it to be wide enough to hold one of these larger images. This piece is a little over 5 inches tall, and then I wanted it big enough to make it so you could open it and write inside it. So, and some of them are not wide enough, but I can make them open this way and put the piece on like that, and it would open up that way. So I'm just going to do a few. I've got, you know, all of these I could do, but I'm not going to spend the whole video working on these. And then I just embellish them a little bit. I'm not going to the sewing machine at all, at least not in this video. I'm just going to glue stuff down. So what I'll do is I'll pick a piece of paper and then look for an image that I think looks good on it. I like that pink against the neutral colors on the background. It does have a little dotted line there on the paper. That was the top of the paper, so I am going to trim that off. It wouldn't necessarily matter if this paper was a little bit narrower than this. I wouldn't have trimmed that off because I don't really care that much, but it was a little wider than it needed to be. So, and then I took my paper punch and corner rounder and rounded all of the corners. And I have some sheet music, not sheet music, it came from an old book. Just put a little music behind it and a little lace or something down one side. So I have my container of bits of lace, so hopefully I can get some of that gone also. Trouble is, in this, when I get this container out, it never seems to have the size or the types of pieces that I need. I'll try to put that on one of them. I have this. Might be able to use that on one. So I think the best thing to do is just go in there and pull out pieces that might work on one or another of these. Oh, there's some pink. I can use that one on this. And I'm not going to spend the whole session doing this, so I think I probably have enough lace pieces out. And then I accented with a little circle right here. It was left over from my previous project. But I've got more circles here and other little bits that I can use. These are digital circles that were left over from a project I made a long time ago, and I believe these are also Artsology when I was on her design team. Okay. I did do some inking on this, so I guess I will continue that. I'll just do one or two of these cards. I'll do the rest of them off camera, however many I decide to make. Obviously I'm not going to make that whole stack, because some of them I can just stick one in a pocket as a card, journaling card, just as it is. That's fine, but I figured if I decorated some up, I'd be more apt to grab them. I want to do some Project Life cards and do something with some colored index cards, so I'm hoping to get to those things today. Oh, the music. So I guess this would be a stashistry and a scrapistry, because it often turns out that way. I'm using stashes of some digitals and index cards and Project Life cards, and I'm using scraps of papers and trims and other scraps, leftover bits. Alrighty. Today, as I'm filming this, I'm really not in camera right there. I think that's better. It is the 4th of July, Independence Day in the United States. It's Sunday. We had our church service outside. We started doing that last year during the pandemic. And then, of course, when it got cold, we went back inside. And we were working, and we did live streaming with the services on YouTube. And so we've been, not we, but the sound people have been working on getting whatever equipment ready we needed to continue with the YouTube live stream if we moved it outside. So today was the first Sunday we were able to do that. Last year we videoed it and then uploaded it, but it wasn't live, wasn't during the same time that we were there, you know, so didn't want to disrupt those people at home that are still not getting out and looking for the video at the same time. So that's why they waited till that was all ready. So today we had our service outside, and it was very, very nice. It didn't get too hot. I think it's quite a bit warmer out now, of course, but this morning it was very nice and breezy, and my family and I were sitting under the big old tree. They had chairs all set up, and we chose the chairs in the back that were under the tree. And it was shady and breezy enough that I had goosebumps and wishing I had long sleeves on. But I would much rather be cool than hot, so I was happy. So I'm not doing anything special for the 4th of July today. I had a cookout at my son's house yesterday evening, Saturday, and there were a bunch of people there, and I took the desserts. So I made chocolate chip cookies and butterscotch brownies and chocolate brownies with peanut butter icing. And I think that's everything. I think that's enough just to embellish. I don't want fancy embellishments in these journals. They're just Stash Buster journals, and when I say just, they're still going to be nice and special journals full of fun things. But I don't do a lot of intricate ephemera anyway. It's just not what I do, and so I want to keep these pretty simple. So a lot of the ephemera will just be things I have in my stash that I stick in the pockets. But since I wanted to do some stash busting, I figured I might as well make some stuff with some of the supplies that I have. This one will have to be sideways because the picture goes sideways, but the picture will be... I don't have any of these that go sideways. I think it'll be alright. We'll have to go that way. I probably cut it off where I shouldn't have. Oh, look at the tulips. I hate to use the ones printed on cardstock for this though, because those are the things I could actually just tuck into a pocket. Some are printed on cardstock and some are on paper. I like that one. with this card. I let my son borrow my corner chomper thing for a project he's working on, and that would be better for this paper that's a little thicker and doubled, but this is working. That looks really pretty against that pink design. I could alter the things, the papers that I'm layering and the way I'm doing it, but to make it quick, sometimes I just want the Stash Buster projects to be really quick so I can use up a lot of supplies, because that's what the busting part means. You're using up a lot, not just a couple pieces in an hour. So to follow the same pattern for all of them makes it a lot faster for me. And all of these cards would go into a different journal anyway. I'm not going to edge the edges of that because they're already dark. So I could sit in here maybe tomorrow, having YouTube playing on my, or a podcast or something playing on my tablet that's in here, and just glue away. And then put a bunch of these in my stash. So I'm making 5 journals, but I'd like to make more than 5 of these things. I really feel like I've busted some stash. I also have these larger digitals that are already printed, and I thought I could just do something quick and easy with them, like just gluing them to something to back them with and have them already. I would probably, for these, I would want to sew around it just to give it a little bit more fun, but I could, you know, cut the cardstock or whatever I'm going to glue them to. These are printables of fruit crate labels, and then these are just some larger images that I have that I never reach for. That's a pretty little piece of lace right there. Maybe something different for the ephemera on this. I just pulled out a bunch of scraps. I just said using the same formula would be quicker, but I just didn't want to put a circle down here and cover up that pansy. Maybe I could just use her. This is out of I think it's out of a really old rubber stamp catalog that I had. It has the item number on her, and I can't remember what the name of the stamp company was, but I haven't heard of it in a long time, so it's probably defunct now. But I saved a few of the images of the catalog. This one was $7. I think it was an unmounted stamp. rub a little ink on this. This is a bit of textured wrapping paper, I guess it was. It was on a roll when I got it, but it's kind of heavy for wrapping paper. I don't know if the art glitter glue works really well on fabrics and ribbons and stuff. Sorry, I just removed the glue from the dried glue from the tip and thought I dropped it in my wastebasket, but I dropped it on the floor, on the carpet, and I didn't want it just getting stuck on the carpet, so I had to find it. I would love to have a craft room without a carpet, but I'm happy to have a craft room at all. I'm using all kinds of glue. Would you like me to do a video talking about my favorite tools and my favorite supplies? If so, I could start compiling a list. I have 3 done, and I will continue making some more tomorrow. I think this one's my favorite one. So I will set these supplies aside. And we'll move on to something else. Okay, something very quick. I have this gift wrap. Looks like $20 bills. So I'm just going to cut some $20 bills out and use them to embellish some of the pages. I could glue some to cardstock. I just put a new blade in this, so hopefully that's going to help me cut better than it's been cutting. So I'll just have a stack of things, or a box of things, next to me somewhere, of things like this that I can just add to any of the pages. I even pulled out some of the larger, and these journals aren't that big either, but I pulled out some larger book plates to use up in my stash busting. I have my yearbook photos all ready to be used, so I'm just gonna put a bunch of them in the drawer here. I'll even maybe use some of the bigger pieces. Got some more of those. Okay, let's do Farm Bell. Got a piece of manila file folder here. I'm just gonna put some tape in the center to hold her in place, cut it out, and then tomorrow I'll take it to the sewing machine. I could use these for pockets or tags, and they might be too big for some of the journals. Like, I think the shorthand one is the smallest journal, so something like this might be too small for it, but I can use it in the ones that it will fit. I think I'll actually leave that tab on it for now. I might want it there. Thinking about moving this up a little higher to make the tab a little, the card a little smaller if I want to leave the tab on it. And if I decide I don't want the tab, I can cut it off, but I'll just sew around there, and that will be whatever it's going to be. I want to use light colored cardstocks so that they can be written on if I decide to use them as a journaling card. That one seems to go with that color. And that's a pretty big one, so that might end up being saved to go into a bigger journal, but if I can at least back these during my stash busting sessions, I'll have them all ready to use in a future journal. Of course, this would be really nice just to glue onto a page for a journaling spot, and so would this one. But I haven't used them yet. Yeah, I'm going to save them in case I decide to do that. I think I just have to make stash busting journals more frequently so I can just grab anything I want, because anything goes. The way I make a stash buster journal, anything goes. There's no theme. I just like to use my supplies, and it's really fun. I cut these by hand, and so they're crooked. These are some hollyhocks from TLC Creates Vintage from when I was on her design team. Probably don't have anything that'll go on the pinks. Nope. These would have. But, oh, I still have this one. That's just a little too short. Some of these I might have to actually get a full sheet of cardstock to finish these up. That one's too short, and I love the color of it. Now this one has the perforated part, but I'm gonna use it anyway. I've only got 3 more. Can I find cardstock for them? I probably need to move on to the next item. I'll be running out of time. I'll do one more. I don't remember where I got these, what shop I got them from, but I just loved the fruit label images. And so I bought them, and then I printed them, and they've just been sitting in my stash because I didn't know what to do with them. It would be fun to make a journal just full of these fruit labels. Okay, I'll save these for tomorrow. I pulled out some bags that I've had in my stash for a long time. Somebody sent this to me in a Happy Mail, and I think it's delightful, and I'm excited to put it in one of these journals. And I have one more of these left. I've got a few of these that came from my mother, and this one I decoupaged, and this one I got in a Happy Mail with a Japanese lady on it, and this one is a really big one, so I think I might cut this in half and make 2 bag pockets out of it. Somebody sent that to me also. Alright, let's take some of these Project Life cards that I got on clearance. I don't think they're Project Life brand. Maybe some of them are, but I remember getting a couple boxes of these on clearance at different times at Hobby Lobby. So I'm just going to use little bits of scraps of paper. So I've got my little bin here of the little itty bitty bits, and these pieces that are like supposed to be card mats. I got a package of them at a yard sale, and I've got some little punches that I wanted to use on some of these things. Oh my goodness, I'm running out of time already. So just for fun, I just want to take little bits of papers. This one is actually bigger than the little bits. These are some of the little bits. This is some wrapping paper. I'll use a little piece of that. So I just trimmed it to the right width, and now I'm going to just cut a little strip. That's all I'm going to use of it on this card. So I'll cut the rest of it into strips, and we'll make several of them. It's about a 1/2 inch. gonna get my little tags. So I want to get into my stash of merchandise tags. I used to have these in my shop. They were a big seller, and I've put a lot of them in different bundles that I've sold, of ephemera bundles and stuff like that, so I don't have a lot left. I had them in a big variety of colors. So I want to use some of them because I do love them. And after I use them, I'm going to want to buy more. Okay, so I just want to have that there, and just put that there. Just for embellishments, and then the card can be written on and the whole back will be plain. I think I want to cut the bottom of this off. And just have it like that. I'm going to get some string to tie in that. I think I'm going to have to make a two-part video today. So I don't know if I'm going to go to the flea market tomorrow. It's a holiday weekend, so it'll be really crowded. And I don't mind the crowds. What I mind is finding a place to park and then getting out of it. Because I had trouble a couple of years trying to get out of my parking spot. One guy one year had a truck, big pickup truck with some kind of a trailer that it hauled on the back of it, attached to the back, and he completely blocked my exit where I could get out of the row of cars where I was. It's usually not a problem on any other week, but on the holiday weekends it's tough. And for Memorial Weekend I went with my friend and her husband, so he had to worry about that. But they're in Kentucky visiting her daughter this weekend. So it wasn't as big a deal on Memorial Weekend as I told you. There weren't as many. It just hasn't been as good of a flea market this year as it has been in the past, which is totally fine, because as I've said, I don't really want to bring a lot more stuff in, but I really love going and looking and seeing what kind of unusual things I can find. Like last year I got the optometrist box of stuff. It was so cool. I still have some of it. That's all I'm doing to that. It's pretty simple, right? And it just dresses up a plain card. Seems really dark in here, doesn't it? I have this purple one. I had green and red, and I don't have very many colors left. I'll just put that piece that I cut off the bottom right there. I want to put something else on that. I've got all these little things that I cut from some magazines that I had, the uppercase magazines, and they look like little labels, like half labels, and they have different categories written on them. So maybe some of those would be fun to use on these little tags. I'll get them out. Just put that little circle on there, or no, I don't want to use them with that label. That looks kind of cute. Maybe that's what I'll do, just put a photo corner, even though the card itself has rounded corners. I do have some cards that are square. Try to do a couple more of these before the camera shuts off, and then I'll start the camera up again with a fresh battery. And it's not the battery that shuts it off, it just, the camera says okay, that's enough, and just shuts off, and I never know what time it's going to do it. I think that one turned out cute. Okay, for this one, I'm going to put maybe a piece of the numbers up here at the top. Filling in my space with all the little bits right now. Perfect. That was the 1/4 inch one, I believe. This one says Ephemera. I thought that was perfect for what we do. Uppercase magazine is published in Canada, I believe. It's expensive. Does not have advertisements. I don't think. Yeah, it doesn't have advertisements. And it's all about people who do graphic arts and stuff like that. Anyway, I have some of their books. They call them some kind of encyclopedia. And I've got the first, I don't know how many I have, but I stopped even looking to see what their next volume was, because I just don't want to spend the money on any more. But I love looking at the ones I have. But they have a publication, a magazine, that's more like a really nice, one of the really nice magazines that cost a lot of money. like Daphne's Diary and stuff like that. And so there's lots of images. That's where all these little labels came from, and they have those things in every issue. So this says Stitch. So that was on a article about something that was stitched. Recollection, Stitch again, Discover, Creating Beauty in the World and at Home. Well, I guess that's enough for that one. So one more. Take another strip of this gift wrap. And a blue tag. I'll let the bottom of that one hang out this time. And I have a 1-inch punch. Just punch that out and cut it in half. Maybe I will cut this. See what size is this one. This one must be 3/4 or maybe a 1/2 inch. Yeah, I think I like the little ones better, and you know what? I'm gonna not cut them in half. It'll make it a lot easier to glue them in place. So I will glue them down first. And the grid lines help me line it up a lot better than I could without any guide. Oops, I didn't put the thread in there. That's okay, we won't have thread in this one. Alright, I'm going to stop the video now. So let's just recap if I can find all my pieces. I cut up some gift wrap, which is in that drawer. And all I have to do is sew around the corner, the edges of these, and we'll have some large journaling cards or pockets. I have to make some cardstock for those. And then we did these two today. And they both open that way. And then we did these. Really fun. And I've got more to do, so what time is it? I've got enough time to do another video before I go to the evening church service, so I will have another of these videos tomorrow probably for you. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Have a creative day today. Get out your scraps and your stash and craft with me for these videos. Bye.